Hello and welcome to an unboxing of Prokhorovka. We have already seen some of these appear online, but this one is my version. My name is Ulrich. I had the privilege of being one of the playtesters in the development of this product, and that was about at least a year and a half of work. So lots of trying out of different scenarios, and usually for this one, as we can see here, we also have historical commentary provided from a historian who wrote a book that is among the bibliography of the module is based on. And see, it's still in the cellophane wrapper, just arrived. And on the back we have a fairly standard layout, although usually it says 6 minutes per game turn, I guess to reflect the longer time that some of these scenarios actually represent. So let's move on to the actual opening up of this box here. Let's see, how much we get this off. There we are. That's that done. So how does this open? It actually flips open sideways, so well, you don't have a lid that you can lose, so that's quite a handy little design. We have a promemoria slip which tells us what we should have: a box, 8 maps, 4 counter sheets, 1 rule book, 14 scenarios, and the campaign game, of course. It's a very useful little checklist. We have here the rule book set of pages. Here we have the scenarios. Let's see now. So this is the paperwork. Again, 2-column layout as is traditional, and usually we don't have any holes punched, so you can do them as you wish or to skip punching entirely. We have special rules, terrains, and the campaign game. And in here, in these pink boxes, you see there are some examples of play, which is always very useful and welcome to find. How various lines of sight work, and again working on these examples. These are movement cost examples, and this is working again on the slopes. A guide to the colours of the various elevations from 0 to 6. There are 7 different elevations in play across the various boards. Now this is actually quite an interesting thing about the levels. So the module uses the hillock rules from one level to another, so they are treated as if they are half a level between each other. So a unit here can see anything that is on either of these two. A unit at crest up here can see all of this area and the next, and then eventually blind hexes do come into play at a sufficient distance, but they have been modified. However, if somebody is up here, then a plateau effect does take effect, so they can see all of this area below but not further below. So there's this overlap of lines of sight across different levels, which is completely different to any of the other ASL modules. It's a beautiful effect, takes a bit of effort to get used to, but then it is ASL, everything takes an effort, and the final result works really well. It has some really interesting gameplay that arises because of it. Okay, so further examples. This is where we're explaining how partial launches work, but then they all already appeared in Pegasus Bridge, so again reiterating those. Examples of the slopes. There is even a couple of tunnels in the game that have a fun little effect. Various campaign game special rules, and here we have more of those. We have some unusual aircraft that appear potentially for the German, and most of it is quite standard, so those who are used to playing campaign games will not be familiar with the layout. A different Soviet vehicle appears there, and here are those 2 German aircraft we just mentioned. The usual footnotes, lots of interesting footnotes. I always love to read footnotes in different modules. From the very first Beyond Valor, module to everything produced since then. I love the historical background that explains why was the rule thought out the way it was, what is the basis for coming up with that. And here we have, this looks like reduced size map sheets. Okay, that's two. I see. So this is to give you an idea of the layout of the full 5 maps. Oh, and maybe you can just about see there is some color coding along the sides here that corresponds to the around these edges as well, corresponds to the entry areas for Soviet units in the campaign game, because they are restricted to particular areas. Now let's see, I'm getting these mixed up. It was like that and like that. Fantastic. Various credits and a long list of bibliography. Nice to see. And here we have quite a few pages of an interview with Chris Lawrence, that historian that we mentioned, who has his book there on the cover of this module. Some maps to help understand the layout of the forces. Here's a red box showing the area of interest, and then same again at a different stage. And here we have zoomed in again, and here we have some real zooming in showing exactly the layout of the maps and examples of aerial photographs that were used in the preparation of the module. We have here a number of scenarios. 2 of these are starter kit, and they can, for those who want to expand on their starter kit skills. Some of these are medium sized, some of them rather large, and they are all good, fun and interesting situations to try out. Now, which one was my favorite? I think one of my favorites was, let's see now, Storozavoye. Quite a lot of replayability here actually in this situation. It's on this separate map S. Several different options, various toys for the Soviet to use for their setup and deciding on how they're best going to thwart the German plans. And the German comes in from the south here. Actually, according to that's the north. Okay, so come in from the west and the north, 2 different areas, and there are some Soviet reinforcements, which again changes things on how it plays out each time. So it is a nice, interesting scenario to do. Oh yeah, Komsomolets, a nice little sub-battle to the overall 5-map area if you're doing the whole campaign game. All the different areas have essentially separate little battles going on, but Komsomolets is one of those that can be played as a separate scenario. Andreevka, nice big map. I didn't try it personally, but it looks absolutely amazing from when I saw it being tested. And finally, lots of scenarios. It's really quite a lot you get in this one. And the campaign game. Now this one took months to play test, and this is again with lots of different units for the Germans. 3 whole pages, lots of different OBA modules that appear in play. It's rare to get that many different OBA modules, and it works really well because there is a lot of ground to cover. Soviet units, as we mentioned before, color coded according to the areas they come in at different turns. It's a big one. Let's just say it as it is. Here we have some of the new counters, and you'll notice some are simply additional counters to make up for the great number of units that you will need. Some of them have a red star marking out the was it Desantniki, the tank riding trained units. The special, again, Desantniki trained tanks to cooperate with that infantry, and who come in different areas, and some of them have particular movement restrictions when they have to leave as well, so it's useful to help keep track of those. Really nicely printed out, actually, really clear, and I must say this looks pretty much perfectly trimmed, so the printer has done an absolutely fantastic job of doing these counters. Look at these as well, as these are replacement counters for the earlier modules. Brevity Assault, Piazza Ridge, and look at that, completely accurate, absolutely beautifully done. So that's a really good printer that's being used here. And more for the Germans. Oh, and we've got blue and black, so you have a choice of which one you want to use. Okay, here we have map S, which was the Storozhevoye. I won't be able to fit this all in, but it's a decidedly thicker cardstock, matte finish, and I remember this being bigger when testing it on Basel, but here we are. It all fits neatly in, probably the equivalent of about 3 standard map boards with nice big hexes, so no issues with stacking, and a nice little village laid out there for the Soviets to have a go at defending. So that's that one. We have map Y, which I think Y stands for Yamki, although it is essentially laid out around the Stalinsky Sovkhoz. So the Germans are all set up in this area and are trying to thwart Soviets coming all the way across, but who may also choose to go at the village. So the Soviets have different options in this one as well. Map A, that was the Andrevka. Haven't tried it, but oh, this is a really big one. One big map sheet in this one. Let's have a look. Okay, again, this is really nice looking, long strung out village, different areas. Oh, and I believe there is also a church in there. Some, again here, examples of pre-printed trenches here and there. So that one, again, is a real slog as they fight from one end to the other. And then these just need a lot of space layout. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 that all go together into being the big campaign game. So that is a lot of material. So I look forward to trying it face to face. Thank you.